Welcome to This Explainer. We're taking a truly massive subject today, the United States of America, and breaking it down into 15 fascinating facts straight from our source material. It's undeniably one of the biggest countries on Earth, but how much do we actually know about it? Whether you're a total geography buff or just curious about American culture, these facts are going to help you perfectly grasp the sheer scale and history of this nation. Let's get right into it. Here's our agenda for today. We're covering 1. The massive geography, 2. Population and cities, 3. History and government, and 4. Iconic American symbols. Starting off with Section 1, the massive geography. Clocking in at almost 10 million square kilometers, the USA is the third largest country in the entire world. The only two countries that cover more ground globally are Russia and Canada. That is just an enormous amount of territory to govern and inhabit, right? To really put that awe-inspiring scale into perspective, the USA is roughly 28 times the size of Germany. 28. It really makes you realize just how vast the North American continent actually is when you're driving across it. Now, to manage all that land, the country is split up into 50 individual states. Alaska easily takes the crown as the largest state, while Rhode Island is the smallest. Plus, the U.S. protects its natural beauty with 63 national parks, and these are visited by hundreds of millions of people every single year. California actually leads the pack here, boasting 9 of those stunning parks all on its own. Moving right along to Section 2, population and cities. Just like it ranks third in physical size, the USA also holds the third largest population in the world. With 334 million people calling it home, the United States sits right behind China and India in the global population rankings. But here's the crucial point. That vast population, it isn't spread evenly across those 10 million square kilometers. Not at all. Instead, it heavily concentrates in just 4 states: California, Texas, Florida, and New York. Those 4 are basically the ultimate demographic heavyweights of the country. And looking at cities, New York City is the largest, towering alongside other massive hubs like LA, Chicago, and Houston. But get this, with a population of 8.4 million, more people live in New York City alone than in 40 out of the 50 individual states. Just let that mind-bending fact sink in for a second. So who are all these millions of people, and how do they communicate? Well, surprisingly, the USA doesn't actually have an official language at the federal level, but in practice, almost 80% of people speak English at home. Following that, we see a really significant 13% speaking Spanish and about 1% speaking Chinese. All right, let's dive into Section 3, history and government. Looking back at the foundational moments of the country, indigenous tribes were present for at least 15,000 years. Jumping way forward, 1776 was when the Declaration of Independence was signed by the original 13 colonies. And then 1789 marked the election of the nation's very first president, George Washington. Expanding on that very first timeline point, our source material details this historical progression super clearly. Long before the USA was founded, indigenous tribes had been living on the land for at least 15,000 years before European settlers stole their land. Today, there are 5.5 million Native Americans living in the USA, which makes up roughly 1.7% of the total population. With all these 50 states, distinct governments, and a pretty complex history, here is a quick geography test for you. Where exactly is the capital of the USA? Take a guess. Did you get it right? It's actually a super common point of confusion, mostly because every single state has its own capital. But the nation's capital, and the place where the president actually lives, is Washington, D.C. And importantly, Washington, D.C. is entirely separate. It is absolutely not located in the state of Washington. Which brings us to our final part, Section 4, iconic American symbols. The famous American flag is essentially a map of the country's history, directly visualized on a piece of cloth. It features exactly 13 stripes, and those represent the original 13 colonies that declared independence from Great Britain. Alongside those are 50 stars, with each star representing one of today's current 50 states. And that crucial milestone of independence is culturally cemented every single year, known as Independence Day. The 4th of July is celebrated annually to remember the exact day back in 1776 when that Declaration of Independence was signed, officially separating those 13 colonies from Great Britain. Native wildlife has also become deeply intertwined with the national identity. The American bald eagle has served as the national bird since 1782. Today, you can see this powerful symbol everywhere, most notably right there on the back of the $1 bill and dead center on the presidential seal. Finally, we have the iconic Statue of Liberty. Standing tall on Liberty Island in New York City, she was actually a present from the French. But here's a really wonderful historical detail linking our facts together today. She's famously holding a tablet in her left hand, and inscribed right on that tablet is the monumental date of the Declaration of Independence. So out of all the incredible statistics, historical beats, and iconic symbols we've covered in this explainer today, which fact surprised you the most? I'll leave you with this thought to ponder. How do you think such an immense geographical scale and an incredibly dense, diverse population manages to unify under a single American identity? Thanks for joining me on this deep dive, and keep asking those big questions.